Amazon just released a full scene from The Wheel of Time Season 2. This is Unraveling the Pattern. I'm Lauren. You can go watch it right now if you're subscribed to Prime Video. The scene is currently found at the end of the Season 1 finale, Episode 8, just before the credits roll. I'm not going to show the full scene, but I'm just going to give you a quick shot-by-shot description and show stills. I'll bring up some of my thoughts as I go, so spoiler warning. This video contains spoilers for the first 2 seasons of The Wheel of Time on Prime Video and for the first 3 Wheel of Time books, Through the Dragon Reborn. If you wish to remain completely spoiler-free, this video might not be for you. It's unclear when this scene will take place in Season 2, but I'm guessing that this is likely the cold open for the very first episode. The scene begins with a wide shot of a building nestled in the woods at night in an unknown location with storm clouds above and some mountains visible in the background. The building appears to be shaped like a 6-pointed star. There are also 6 visible pillars with an ancient Aes Sedai symbol at the top of each. One of the pillars appears to be broken, with the Aes Sedai stone symbol fallen on the ground. Could this represent 6 of the Forsaken or Chosen? Does this mean the show will only have 6 Forsaken total? Perhaps the broken pillar represents the seal that was broken at the end of Season 1 that let Ishamael free. A little girl is seen playing outside near the pillars. Her clothing is reminiscent of the Tuatha'an, or traveling people clothing from Season 1. She looks down at the top piece that has fallen from the broken pillar. The piece has an ancient Aes Sedai symbol in the center, surrounded by an 8-pointed star. The girl is then frightened by 3 Trollocs that come out of the surrounding woods. They chase after her and she runs into a building and then hides under a table that's surrounded by people wearing hoods in a dark room. This is the scene that we've been shown in both the trailer and one of the teasers. We see some of the people from her point of view under the table. A white cloak is seen, as well as some Shienaran soldier clothing. We hear Ishamael, the man from the end of Season 1, saying, "Where is he now? The one who walks the world, the one who was and will be, but is not yet, the dragon, Rand al'Thor." As the girl looks around at the people sitting at the table, we're given glimpses of who might be attending this meeting from her point of view. A Shan-Chan dress is seen, as well as 2 fingers with long fingernails on each hand. This is likely High Lady Suroth. Ishamael's voice continues to speak. He says, "He released me at the eye of the world, and he thinks he can hide. He cannot." The girl looks over and sees a gloved hand and a great serpent ring which appears to be solid black. A woman's voice says, "We are to kill him?" I couldn't quite make out the voice, but it might be Liandrin who's speaking, though I'm not convinced it's her voice. The girl continues to look around and sees a Shienaran soldier. I'm guessing this is Ingtar. Ishamael's voice says, "Perhaps he can be turned to my use. Sooner or later, it will be served, in this age or another." The girl approaches someone with a colorful dress, akin to the traveling people, and then the girl says, "Mum." Ishamael bends down and says, "Excuse me, we're in the middle of a meeting. A quite important one, really." His weird ring is clearly visible. The girl turns and looks towards the door with a frightened look, and Ishamael says, "Oh, let me guess. There's something outside." He seems kindly and gentle. She nods. He says, "A monster, perhaps?" Then he beckons her to come out from under the table and says, "Come on." He guides her and takes her by the hand as we see this wide shot of the Darkfriends around the table. This is clearly the Darkfriend Social. He says to the girl, "A lot of people call me a monster too, you know," along with a litany of other unflattering names. Father of lies, betrayer of hope, forsaken. Then he asks her, "Do you know why they call me and the other chosen such hideous things?" The girl answers, "No." And then he says, "'Cause if they called me what I really am, no one would be afraid." Then we get a quick shot of Padan Fain, who's sitting at the table. He lifts up his hood, and his creepy whistle from Season 1 is heard in the music. So much for keeping their identity secret, I guess. He smiles at the girl as Ishamael leads her out of the room and through the doorway to the outside. The person next to Padan Fain clearly appears to be wearing white gloves and possibly a white cloak under their hood. Ishamael continues to monologue as he's known to do, while he walks the girl towards the 3 Trollocs outside. He says, "After all, how do you prove you're not a monster? How do you prove that the things you're doing are good or evil, right or wrong?" We see a wider shot of the building, the pillars, and the door. A hexagon shape is visible above the doorway. A 6-sided building, 6 pillars, and a 6-sided shape over the doorway. What do you think it means? I worry that they might only have 6 Forsaken in the show because of this, but there were at least 8 Forsaken statues in Season 1, so I guess we'll just have to wait and see. Ishi continues to lead the girl by the hand towards the Trollocs. He says, "Look at this creature, part man, part animal. It's so hard to be something between." This reminds me of the sort of duality that Rand will be facing in Season 2 and throughout the series. The Trolloc looks awesome and menacing. I'm so glad we'll be getting at least a few glimpses of more practical looking Trollocs again in Season 2. Ishi turns to the girl and says, "What if he isn't evil? What if he isn't wrong? What if he's just hungry?" The girl gasps with fear, but Ishamael bends down to her level and kindly says, Look at me. Do I look like a monster to you? The girl, who at this point is really good at only saying one word at a time, says, no. Ishi smiles and says, I knew I liked you. He picks her up in his arms and then gently reaches out and touches the Trollocs face. Then he says, you see, it's all right. Go on, you try. And he urges her to touch the Trolloc. I genuinely wasn't sure if he was going to feed her to the Trolloc at this moment, but she reaches out and touches the Trolloc and then giggles. Ishamael laughs too, and then the camera pans up and cuts to black. The music was eerie and creepy, and that's it. I don't have much else to say other than the fact that I think it's interesting that Season 1 ended with a little girl on the beach, and Season 2 might start with a little girl being brainwashed by dark friends. It creeps me out, but I like the symmetry. Also, I'm definitely sure that the little girl in the trailer who appears to be in this scene with Perrin is definitely not the same little girl from this new scene. So what do you think of this scene? Are you excited about this, or does it worry you for what's to come? I like it more than the cold open scenes from the first episode of Season 1, and I thought it was a tricky way to show a lot while saying very little. We learn pretty quickly that Ishamael is probably not the Dark One, but one of the Forsaken, and we learn that perhaps the Shadow aren't the bad guys we think they are. Other than that, what did I miss? Remember to like the video, to subscribe to Unraveling the Pattern, and consider donating to the good causes I have listed in the description. Until next time, let the dragon ride again on the winds of Prime.